Welcome back, knife nerds and everyday care people. It's your boy, the Big Canucker, and we have ourselves a little bit of ASMR Friday. I'm just messing with you guys. I came across an ASMR channel. I still don't know what ASMR stands for, but I think it stands for really, really great audio and people crumpling up plastic, and I still don't totally get it. I know there are sound out there that just, you can put on the Ricky Radio voice and talk like this and people love it. I don't get it. If you get what ASMR is, damn it, then just leave it in the old comments. I'm sure Gizmo Car's going to have some gizwism about that, so we'll find out about it. ASMR together. Maybe we'll do an ASMR journey. All right, here we go. We have got ourselves another knife that was lent to me by a great fella, Jake, over at Canadian Cutting Edge. And Jake has been telling me, hey, buddy, cut towards the sky, not your thigh. And damn well, he's got some good advice there, because I blew a hole apart in my leg with that damn little 1.5-inch bladed Kiradashi tulip. Man, oh man. Anyway, I'll leave a little picture of what the progress is on it right now. I actually will take a picture with the bandage on, just to not have so much graphic stuff there, but you can see what's happening. That'll be down there. All right, going forward here, let's have a look at this great little knife here. Could be a little bit great, I think, is a little bit too much for this knife. And let me tell you why. Here we have the Petrified Fish Scout. And it comes in just a very, very plain box. It's got itself a little Petrified Fish logo on the plastic, and it comes with a little bit of a cloth here to clean up any sort of fingerprints on it. So I mean, pretty standard fare. Let's have a look at this here as far as the technical things on this. All right, so description. So overall length of 7.5 inches. Blade length is 3.03 inches with a blade thickness of 0.118 of an inch or 3 mils. Now the blade material is actually 14C28N, and you can tell that by, it's actually here on the bottom. I'm not sure if you can see that here. We'll see if we can get in there. My eyes are so terrible. But just inside there, it says 14C28N. I don't know if that's focused or not. It is satin finished, plain edge blade that it seems to be a fully flat ground to a fairly sharp edge. Now, I don't know if this edge was something that Jake did or if it comes from factory, but it was a really, really nice sticky edge. I mean, it seems like it's a very, very obtuse edge, just looking at it, and it does come through in the cutting of it. Now it is 59 to 60 of the Rockwell scale. Now the handle length is 4.02 inches long, and it does have blue G10 with a deep carry clip. Now the billboarding on here is not a whole lot. I mean, there's really nothing on either side of the blade. The designer here is a fellow by the name of David Chen. You can see that right on the deep carry clip. I mean, that part I really like. I think that's really, really excellent to not have a whole bunch, especially on a smaller knife like this, to have a whole bunch of, Petrified Fish right across, David Chen. I mean, I think it takes away some time of the overall beauty of the knife. Now, let's go over this. Now, I'm not super high on this knife. I think it's a good knife, but we'll get to some of that here in a bit. But we'll just do a little bit of a size comparison. Here we have got a Paramilitary 2, and you can see that it is quite a bit thinner and a little bit shorter. And then here we have a Delica with a Wharncliffe blade, and you can see it seems to be more along the lines of the Delica size. Although, Delica size as far as strength, length, but this Delica here is quite a bit fatter, and this seems to be more of a kind of a gentleman's carry knife. It's certainly not a heavy-duty knife or a hard-use knife by any stretch of the imagination. And then one of the really big comparisons I had is the Civivi Arch, or X-Arch, or however you want to count it. These knives seem to be extremely similar Not identical, but very, very close. I mean, both are really thin, deep clip front flippers. This one here, I really like the action on that one. I've not, that one here, same too as well. I think the detent on the Petrified Fish leaves a little bit to be desired. I mean, this is, I really had to work on this a long time to be able to get this to kind of flip open. I was having a really rough time, especially right out of the box, of opening this up. I mean, I could open it, but I wasn't able to kind of flip it forward. There, you know, I'm at it now, and it seems to be more along the lines of not putting your thumb on the front, but putting your thumb here on the top. And this top jimping here is a little bit on the sharp side, so it does seem to dig into your thumb. I had one guy ask me if it was, you know, really a kind of a fidgety knife because he knows that I like to fidget and flip all the time. Yeah, the fidget factor, I mean, for somebody, maybe it's there, but for me, it just seems to really, really wear a hole in my thumb, and it gave me a little bit of a kind of a blisters going on. I could feel it starting to get a little bit warm, and I didn't like it. Some of the other stuff that really bothered me, even though the fit and finish is a little bit, and this is a budget knife, don't get me wrong. I mean, this is $41.99 at White Mountain Knives. It's also $41.99 at the Petrified Fish website itself. So it's not a whole pile of money. Here in Canada, I think that roughly is, you know, 60, 63 bucks or so. But, you know, 14C28 G10 flipper, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but I mean, it's got some things here. Like this kind of bugged me a little bit. You know, I don't know if everyone's like that, but the Petrified Fish logo is a little bit off-centered. Like, I mean, if you have it sitting like this, I think the Petrified Fish logo should look, you know, perfect. I don't get this whole kind of design into it. It's, I like things that are very symmetrical. I don't even like playing slot machines because they only have one arm. That's just my old my issue, and I just look at this knife and I see that a little bit crooked. I see this there's no rhyme or reason to it. I don't like it. The other thing I don't like design wise is I don't really like, I mean, it may look okay here with the blade out, but it seems like the blade tilts back a little bit, and with that, it's a little bit of a hump there too as well. And I mean, when you look at the Civivi here, the Civivi line, even though there is such a smaller hump, it seems like it's way more conventional. As when I say conventional, but it just seems like it's way more streamlined. It's kind of really flat on both sides, where this one is kind of flat on this side, but then it's got that hump there, and then it's got, you know, this little bit of a miss there. I just don't feel the design that well. Ergonomically, I mean, it's a straight knife. I mean, there's no your pointy finger here has got a nice little nested area there. I never noticed that either one of the clip here or anywhere was really digging too bad into my hand as far as a crazy hot spot. But ergonomics, I mean, it's not a super ergonomic knife. It's not a super fidgety knife. But I mean, I think it's, you know, it's an okay gentleman's carry. By no means is this a heavy duty knife whatsoever. I mean, you've got yourself some little tiny 6mm screws here, and we all know the 6mm screw. I mean, the whole story is not fantastic. And then you look here, I just don't see and then looks like this is screwed on the inside are probably 6mm too as well. The inside is not crazy milled either. I mean, the weight I think is 2.3 ounces or 2.7 ounces. It's not a crazy heavy knife, 65 grams. So there is, it is fairly light, but I'm just not digging the whole Petrified Fish Scout vibe. Now, there's a little bit of jimping back here, but I think it's a little bit, I mean, the jimping is there to flip the knife over. I think they should have carried the jimping down a little bit, especially this one being having no jimping here. If you're going to be doing any sort of kind of, front work to it, there's nothing there. It's pretty jimpyless. The other thing too as well, there's just some really tiny fit and finish things that just aren't fantastic. I mean, Petrified Fish logo. You can't really see it, but there's quite a bit of flashing inside there. This back here too as well just seems, I don't know. I'm just not digging this knife a whole lot. I think it's, and I'm not going to say it's the most hated knife that I have, and oh, it's a big miss and stuff like that, but it's just got little small things that bother me, and it really goes up against some of my really knife things. You can see here with this ricasso here, the way this is kind of ground in there, they hit that a little bit, and to me it looks like it's elongated, and it looks like it's a little bit unfinished. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but when you look at it, it looks like a mistake rather than a part of the design. If they had perhaps taken this this sharpening choil and lost a 1/2 mil of the blade's length, it would have been just looked, I think, way better. And that's just a really small design choice. Now, the other thing too as well is the clip just seems, I'm comparing it against the Civivi Arch, and I really like the Civivi Arch. I think the Civivi Arch is quite a bit better knife for, I think, $6 more. Even though this is D2 steel, some people will prefer D2 over 14C28N. I mean, 14C28N is one of the really great budget steel made by Sandvik. It's very, very clean steel. It has decent edge retention. It's fairly tough, really stainless. I mean, when they picked the steel for this, they did a great job there. I just think there's just so many small things, and it's, hey, you may pick this knife up and you may think, oh, this is a great knife. I've got no issues with it whatsoever. But for me, I just picked it up and I just didn't like it right off the bat. And sometimes we just have those aversions right off the bat. Now, another thing here, I'm comparing it against the Civivi Arch, is if you have a look at the lock bars on them. To me, this is, even though this is a light duty knife, a very, very thin knife here, very, very thin lock bar here, and it seems to travel back and forth. It seems to kind of go between 40% to 25%, depending upon how hard you open it, where this one here seems to stay at around the 25%. I've not seen the lock bar travel on this, and it seems like there's quite a bit more meat in behind it too as well on the Civivi Arch. Now, it is drop shut. There you go, but it is also really quite sharp on the inside of that thing compared, for your finger or for your thumb. So, I mean, I just would not, this is not a keeper for me. If I ordered this knife and bought it, I would probably do the review, use it for a little bit, and then send it on the way. It's certainly one that's not going to sit around the collection, and I'm going to probably give this just a 5 out of 10. It's just not a real whole, and I'm not, because I am a most of the knives I deal with, and I deal with things that are quite a bit, higher end with the Spydercos. That's kind of my sweet spot. This here is a $6 more knife than this one, and I would have this one all day long and twice on Sundays. I really like this Civivi Arch. I really am indifferent about this Petrified Fish. Now, I'm sorry, Petrified Fish. Hopefully, yes, see this review and maybe make a few changes on there. Another thing here too, I wanted to say is when I did some cutting on this. Of course, most of the time when I do cutting, I do kind of cardboard. I like to break down cardboard boxes. That seems to be what was my original reason for carrying a pocket knife, was to open and break down cardboard boxes. This one here, even though it's a 3 mil blade and it seems to, it's a fully flat ground, it seems to push the cardboard and have an issue kind of going through it. I was cutting there's some cardboard cutters out there that you cut it and it's like a lightsaber. It's like zing, 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 right through the cardboard like nothing. Where this one seemed to struggle going through the cardboard. And it seemed to bunch up the cardboard and kind of push rather than cut as you kind of got through more of it. And it's still very, very sharp, but I think it's more of because it's got a little bit of an obtuse angle to it. And it also isn't extremely thin behind the edge, and it does go up into a real 3 mil quite thick blade right off the bat. But with this Civivi Arch, even though the Civivi Arch here is a very similar size blade, it's a hollow ground, it seems like it's way thinner behind the edge, And this seemed to really go through the cardboard quite a bit better than this one, even though this is hollow grind, and it does, the cardboard sometimes can get a little bit hung up on this top shoulder here. Did not seem to bother that one bit. This Civivi Arch seemed to zing through the cardboard way nicer than this Petrified Fish Scout. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right, so don't forget to check out my friend Jake, his channel, Canadian Cutting Edge. If you do want to buy one of these at White Mountain Knives, go through Jake's channel. He's got a link there to take you right to White Mountain Knives, and you'll get yourself a little bit of a deal. And I think Jake gets a little bit of a taste too. It helps keeps one of our fellow YouTubers going. Now, another thing too as well is don't forget to see my friends over here at Alberta Firearms in beautiful downtown Fort Macleod. And if you've ever been to Fort Macleod, you'll see why that downtown Fort Macleod is a little bit of a joke. Because it's not a very big place. But they are absolutely fantastic folks there. Stephen, Dan, and Matt, they'll look after you. They've got some Spydercos, they've got some Demco knives in there, they've got some Browning knives, they've also got some Boker knives. So they're an excellent place to get yourself a pocket knife here in southern Alberta. I'll leave the description down in the I'll leave the address, phone number down there in the description. Now, please stay safe out there. Keep your stick on the ice, the shiny side up. This is the Big Canucker, saying adios.